we're so bitchy when we're there, but like in secret, like we're definitely the mean girls.
New for 96. With your hosts, Kevin McCauley and Chris Nguyen.
Is this happening?
I don't know.
Oh my
It
god.
doesn't have to be.
Okay. Okay.
We can just call it right here.
This would be the highest customer satisfaction of any episode if we ended it right now.
I know. Then we would finally deserve that award.
Yeah.
Least satisfying content from JB Powell and Associates, which we have yet to receive the medal for.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just it. It's just a complaint.
It's being super glued.
Yeah.
That's why it's delayed.
Yeah.
Gorilla glued.
Gorilla glued.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it just exists as a comment on the Better Business Bureau's website.
Okay. Should we start this?
I guess. Well,
By this I'm referring to
another
the show.
episode of New
New
for
for
96. Boy, it gets worse every time.
I think that was our best one yet.
We were mostly in
It was
harmony.
actually accidentally in sync.
I was trying to harmonize, and
Yeah.
you really killed it.
No, we did.
In the bad way.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was thinking I killed it in the good way.
I don't know about that. Oh my God,
Yeah.
the lines are blinking up here because you're just blowing out.
No. Those are callers.
Yeah. Oh, that's what that is.
Yeah.
Oh shit. I've
Those are
never picked up
callers
any
dialing
of those.
in those blinking lights.
Yeah.
Who do we got on line 2?
Oh my God. And dial tone sound. We really gotta get a soundboard in here. Our content could be elevated if we had sound effects.
If only we had more equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But our budget only allows us to buy soundboards from the 1990s. So it's just like, it's like catcalling sounds and
Right.
like, I can't whistle. That's it. It's just, the soundboard is just various catcalling sounds.
What other sounds from the 90s are there?
I don't know. Moo
The
cow?
eject DVD.
Eject DVD. I mean, like whatever, like we should buy.
StarTech ringtones.
You
Did
know
those have ringtones?
Yeah, I think so.
Wouldn't you know?
We should know because I think on Frasier, being aficionados of the show,
Yes.
Frasier always programmed in different ringtones. Or no, different characters did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Marty dating the two different women.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That was one of the weakest episodes.
It was actually really terrible.
Yeah.
So don't watch that one if you're starting Frasier. Yeah. No. We had this discussion maybe an episode ago about how morning shows must be defunct. I'm not up early enough ever to listen to a morning show, nor would I listen to a radio station with a morning show.
Uh-huh.
But like maybe we can find like a soundboard from like a 90s morning show. Surely that exists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is heading south. What do we have on the docket?
I don't know. We
Okay.
keep writing on that Etch-a-Sketch, and I have a problem not shaking it as I walk over to our production area over here.
My humorous glare at you is about to turn into a serious
I know.
glare.
I wanted to make a joke out of that, but that was a seed that did not grow.
Okay, well, hopefully we can cut all of this out.
Maybe.
What are we talking about? Don't we have a list?
We had a list. I didn't write it down.
All right.
We talked about it this morning. So we went to Cars and Coffee, the informal one at Catalina Coffee
Yeah.
on Sundays here in Houston, and the weather was surprisingly, or rather I should say unsurprisingly terrible. So I meant to be upbeat with that, like a news anchor. Like,
Yes.
yeah. So it was humid and slightly hot.
Yeah, it got hot quickly,
Yeah. So
as it is wont to do.
I know. I haven't been to one of those in a hot second.
It's been like 2 months for me or something. I've been traveling. I've been gone every weekend for a while.
Yeah. And it was it's usually a good show. And now that COVID is down-ish and weather is less worst-ish,
Yeah.
people are coming out. Today was maybe slightly, like a little bit higher on the annoying level because there were several people who did do like annoying
Like
pulls.
fast pulls.
Yeah, and they were all Ferraris and
Oh,
Mustangs.
yeah.
Ferraris and Mustangs. And honestly, both horse cars.
Yeah, 2 horse
Same
cars.
mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Same mindset. So, do you have a pick from the cars that we saw?
Um, I mean, I don't that S14 we liked.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And Robert Cope's Ferrari
yeah.
308,
He
which
just
I
bought.
really was admiring the tires.
Yeah.
And he
The
mutual friend
tires.
of Dave, and he had bought a 308 off Bring a Trailer a
Yeah.
couple months ago, and he's kind of like, just he didn't have to do too much to it, but cleaned it up a little
Yeah.
bit and put on the
Oh.
Pirelli asymmetric, like
No,
the
he
Pirelli,
had-
the Centenario
Yeah.
tires.
Yeah,
which
those tires look really cool.
so
They
good.
look like they're very vintage looking.
Yeah,
and they're
yeah.
like low profile-ish,
Low
but just enough
profile-ish,
sidewall.
but also like a round sidewall.
Yeah,
you know,
round sidewall,
I
so it
think
looks
my
good.
Toyos are very square.
Yeah, yeah.
Sidewall.
And he didn't just clean up a little bit. He had it like paint corrected.
Oh, yeah.
Which is why like the red was so like
The red was very vibrant, and the wheels
Yeah.
looked beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah.
it looked
It
beautiful.
was good.
Yeah, and I always like seeing Alex Bergen, I think is his last
Mm-hmm.
name. He always brings his Insight, his first gen Insight manual.
Yeah.
Did they offer those in automatic?
I don't know.
I don't know
I
either.
honestly don't
I forgot
know.
about that.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know if like transmissions at the time were like advanced enough to where that would make sense since they were trying to eke out every single MPG.
Well, and also like it was such a small amount of power, it wouldn't really move if you had an automatic, perhaps.
yeah,
maybe,
yeah.
don't
I
know.
think it is definitely double-digit horsepower numbers.
I feel like there probably was a CVT version.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you might be right on that because I think the Honda Civic hybrid that came out after that, shortly thereafter, was CVT.
Yeah.
So, I liked the vintage SUV row, which, like, you wanted to ride me at first because you thought I was looking because I said land, and you thought
I immediately scowled.
you
when
thought
you
that I
said
was gonna
land.
say that Land Cruiser, which was cool, because it was a 60 series and looked good.
Mhm.
And there was the Range Rover that was imported from location unknown, but it was like a Euro model of some kind with like high pile seats. I can't even describe it, but it like I like the look. But I
Yeah.
just noticed that on the Range Rover Classic, and this was like a 95 or something like that,
Yeah.
that the seats are high pile. Like the carpet basically just flows up onto the seats.
Yes.
So it has a very fuzzy, unique look to it. But that looked pretty cool.
It was cool.
And
Yes.
next to that was a mid 80s 740 Volvo 740 Turbo.
Oh, yeah.
Which like I know you were feigning like mutual excitement with me, but I genuinely like those.
I was being polite.
You were being polite.
I tried.
Yeah, yeah.
for once.
It was cool. It was a manual one, which like you don't see very often.
Can we talk about 3000 GTs for the next 11 minutes?
Sure.
Okay.
We saw one there.
We saw one there. It was
You
the
said
final version.
You said the final version, and I'm like, there's more than one version.
There are 4 distinct visual versions of 3000 GT.
Yeah. See, I did not know this.
Okay, well, we're going to go through them really quickly.
Oh
and
my
this is a
God.
visual thing. So the first one, when it debuted, because I was obsessed with the Stealth, and I really hated the 3000 GT.
Ooh, I love the Stealth over the 3000 GT too.
Absolutely. The first iteration of 3000 GT, along with the Stealth, they both had pop-ups, and it had like weird little like half-hearted strakes
Yeah.
on the scoops, and it had that like kind of black strip on the front.
Okay.
Kind of like how the 300ZX had a black strip. That was the first version. Then they did a facelift where it got like a smile face, and it lost the pop-ups, and it had those like fixed units that were like, they had kind of, it was almost like a headlight with some sort of cover over it that had 2 circles where the light shone through.
Yeah.
This is all good.
Color keyed, right?
This is all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, color keyed. This is all good podcast
Radio content. Yeah. So, and if I think the listeners
Yes.
can tell what your hands are doing by the whooshing noises by the mic as
Okay.
you wave past them, drawing shapes into the air.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
We still have 2 more versions to get
Yes.
through. Okay. And I'm doing this very quickly.
Oh my
That
God.
second version, that's the one that they did the, like the spider.
Okay.
It was that second version.
Okay.
Third version, it like they basically turned the smile upside down.
Yeah.
And it looked cool as hell.
Oh my God.
It was like my favorite
mouth.
one is that third one.
Okay.
And that VR4 was cool. And
Yeah.
then the fourth one, it like the mouth got bigger and softer.
Yeah.
The
I
headlights
described
got,
it as an engorged mouth.
The headlights, you say that about everything.
Yeah.
The headlights got blacker, and the VR4 wing became like a
Fixed.
yeah. Well, it went from a big hoop spoiler. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, that's another thing. So the third generation got the hoop spoiler.
Yeah.
And then the fourth one got like the, like fixed like end plates.
Mhm.
It's kind of like the last RX-7 one.
Yeah.
That's not really
Wait, which
helping
one had
anyone.
the arrow, like the active arrow?
The first one.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think it was just the first one. There might have been an active front element like on the second one, but I think the later ones did away with that.
That's the thing. I've always liked them from afar. I've never
Yeah.
been interested enough to actually look into like the minutia of it. And so I literally thought there was like VR4 and non-VR4 and that was it.
Yeah.
And everything had or the VR4 ones had active arrow and that was it.
Like the Mirage we also saw today.
Yes.
Mitsubishi subjects things to like 3 facelifts.
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
Which is the
and
best Mirage facelift for you?
I don't know. This new one looks pretty slick.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's very
Is it
incongruous.
still for sale?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I had no idea. So I assume because again, I have Mirage blindness, so I assume that they're all the same year.
No one is blind. No one no one can ignore Pepto-Bismol.
That is true. That is true. I admire the fact that it needed a reverse camera and that they just picked a spot on the rear hatch to drill a hole and just glue on like a camera. Like it's literally in the middle of the hatch.
Mm-hmm.
Nowhere logical. So
Yeah.
unless maybe the badge say they don't do it on the center, it's off center in the middle of the hatch sheet metal, and I think it's because they couldn't integrate it into the badge because the badge is load bearing. So that's a safety feature, part of the crumple zone.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
So
Yes.
that actually reminds me, I listened to another pod. Is it weird to talk about another podcast on a podcast?
Not weird, just boring.
Yeah, whatever. I listened to Hidden Brain today, and they were unfolding the story of the Pinto.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you know just basically the gist of why it exploded?
Because the fuel tank dumped fuel into the cabin at impact or something, or no?
Not really. So what happened is that Ford used some sort of rear cross member that was shared across platforms, and on the Pinto, they had to place the gas tank in a certain way, and this member had these bolts that were superfluous on the Pinto. They just didn't need them, but they still existed. And so where they put the gas tank, it lined up with these bolts. And so when the car got into a rear-end accident, these bolts
Ruptured?
would pierce the
Oh.
gas tank
Wow.
and domino effect
Oh my.
explosion. Yeah.
So it was by not removing the bolts, they
Yeah.
saved 2 cents.
Yeah,
And then
they were
they-
talking about this because Ford basically decided they knew about this basically,
Right.
and the whole controversy was that there was an internal memo that said we know that this is a fault, and it's just cheaper to pay people out.
That's
So-
like the Fight Club thing. That the main guy in Fight Club, that's his job. It's
Yeah.
to
Oh, yeah.
Be the, to do the calculation. He's like
No,
an adjuster
yeah,
type person.
They interviewed the guy who worked for Ford at the recall division, and the story was almost exactly that first scene where Ed Norton's going through that
Yeah.
weird melted car.
Right.
And the guy was describing it kind of in the same way, but
Yeah.
much more gruesomely.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Wow.
so Mirage to Pinto, this is quite the roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. 2 dots so far apart.
yeah. Anything else on the 3000 GT?
Okay. Well, I've got 4 more versions to go through.
Oh,
But no.
yeah.
I liked that third version the best. The first version, maybe the least. And the stealth was always cool. Although I knew someone in high school that had a stealth twin turbo.
Whoa.
And it was very fast. But also, it was a car that was, of all of those cars, I mean, that golden era of Japanese cars,
Yeah.
Japanese performance cars, you have the 300ZX and the 3000 GT and NSX, RX-7, Supra. The 3000 GT was maybe the least appealing of those because it was so big, and it just seemed like a normal. I know it was a purpose-built thing, but it seemed like a normal car with fast car parts on it.
Yeah.
And from the beginning, it's oh yeah, this V6 engine is stuffed in here, and it's extremely compact and hard to work on, and there's no room or tolerances for anything, and that seems
That's the weird thing.
unsustainable, and that's why none of them exist now.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's that's what I remember from, I don't know what, but I just remember they're very complex. And as a kid, just thinking oh, okay, I guess it's not really cool. Because then I was a super fan, and you were an RX-7 fan
Yeah.
of that era. But the Dodge Stealth, for some reason, seemed cool.
The Dodge Stealth I loved. Like, I loved the Dodge Stealth when it came out in like 1991. Like, I
Yeah.
was super young. I was like 6 years old, and I remember when it came out.
There was that TV show.
I didn't see that, and that was
Okay.
the Viper show. No, I don't know.
No, he had I thought he had a Stealth. I was
Okay.
trying to look it up just now, but
All
I
right.
couldn't find it.
Good content.
Yeah.
Yes, the Stealth like looked cool. I had like pull out, print out files
Yeah.
from like Dodge dealerships and stuff.
It just looked cooler for some reason.
It was sleeker. It was cleaner. It didn't
Yeah.
have these little goofy like half Testarossa strakes that went
And
an inch long.
It had, I think, color matched center caps too, or something like that.
Something like that.
It was just like visually more
The
appealing.
taillights were those like weird corner.
Yeah.
things.
Oh yeah, they wrapped
were-
around.
Yeah, they were cool.
Like much more extremely.
it was
I think.
sleeker and cleaner, and I think it just looked better. And
Yeah.
then it got the same headlights. It got facelifted and it got worse.
Yes. It also had that weird mini spoiler.
The
hugged-
boomerang.
The boomerang that hugged like the rear glass instead of being on the edge of the rear hatch. Yeah. No, those don't exist anymore. I don't think I've ever seen like. Maybe I saw one on Bat or something.
Yeah, there was one on Bat a while ago, but like I think it was like not even the RT. The fast one was the RT Turbo.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
There was a lot of versions. There was like the RT and the RT Turbo.
Did they share powertrain?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they never had one variant with like four-wheel steering or anything like that.
It was a little bit simpler. It might have had four-wheel steering. It didn't have the active arrow.
Okay.
It did have the four-wheel drive.
Okay.
I'm embarrassed. I wish I knew. I don't know if it was like longitudinal or transverse V6.
I don't know. I did recently watch like a Wheeler Dealer where they were like restoring one, and
Really?
yeah, and again, I think it was a version 1, and again, I thought like, oh, throughout the entire run, this is it. But they put on like, I guess the later wheels that were
Okay.
chrome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was
So
the style of the time.
Yeah, because I do remember the wheels changing.
Right. I can picture like a chrome 6-spoke that
Yeah.
had like kind of a groove in the center of each spoke.
Yeah, it looked good. It was like a yellow one.
Oh yeah, the
I think
yellow
it looked
was
really good
good.
in yellow. Yeah.
You could get that weird yellow on the Stealth also like later.
Oh, that would be really cool, actually.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah. Man, remember when Dodge was cool?
Oh my god. Dodge was so cool at that time.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
that first Ram was cool.
First Ram was
I
cool.
didn't. The
Twister,
first Ram
Twister.
I thought was like I hated it. It was so cool that I hated it when it came out because I thought
Oh
it was too
my
radical. But
God.
because I thought it didn't look right.
You know what?
Yeah.
Helen Hunt
Yeah.
and who else was in Twister? Bill Pullman. Was he in that? I don't
no,
remember.
it was Bill Paxton.
It was Bill. What the other Bill?
How dare you,
Oh my God.
sir?
I at the time as a kid, because I watched like adulty sitcoms, I was watching Mad About You, and so I was like, oh, Helen Hunt, she's cool, and so she was in that movie. She
I
was
think
in that
you
movie,
were
right?
born at like 25 and then never have grown.
Probably. I watched Cheers as like a 5-year-old.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So, which explains so much. Clank, clank, clank. But yeah, so that movie, was that like before the Ram came out, or I remember it had a big deal.
it was like a year or two after.
Okay.
Because I think the Ram came out in 94 and I think Twister came out in 96.
Okay. But yeah, the Viper, the Neon.
The Viper, the Neon. Yeah, they were all a big deal. The
Yeah,
Viper
even
was
the Intrepid
so cool.
was
The
like,
Intrepid was cool.
Yeah. Even the first gen one, which was which one would you consider like the cool one? I kind of liked the bloated one when it came out.
I did too.
It
I
had,
did too.
It was the first one with auto stick, right? With
Yeah.
the penis shaped gate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. In retrospect, the first one was probably more radical and better.
Yeah. Considering like where Dodge had just come from,
Yeah,
like this was like this wedge
yeah.
of a family sedan.
Oh,
And
for sure.
yeah, which seemed so much more like
Cab forward design.
yeah, which was so much sportier looking than the Taurus at the time even. And I liked the Taurus
Yeah.
then. But yeah, it just looked sporty. And what was the
And it was even a cool name.
Intrepid?
It was cool. It
Yeah.
was cool. I was in New York last weekend, and with Jeff.
Yeah.
And we saw an old Intrepid. And we were both like, wow, because it looked okay at a distance, and we were like, oh my, we haven't seen one of these in years, like a first gen Intrepid.
Yeah,
And then it
this
was
would be
like
Jeff Jablonski.
Jeff Jablonski, and then it was rusted out.
Did he honk at it in approval?
Yeah, I sent you the picture.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, it had a cool
Look
like.
at a 21 honk salute.
It also had like this was like the era of the good. I always heck blend. I always want to call it heck blade.
Yes, you do.
Heck blend. And the Intrepid had a good heck blend.
Yeah.
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 Which the Taurus did not.
True.
The Sable had one.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
The Sable had
A front
heck
heck-
blend and a front and a rear heck
Oh,
blend.
and the front one, I think light bled through it a little bit.
No, it was separate bulbs.
Oh,
So you could
weird.
light it all the way around. But of course, no one kept up with it. And so
Oh,
like it just
no.
became like these missing teeth at night. But people should have just learned to turn on their high beams to compensate as they do now.
There really was no purpose for Mercury in the 90s.
No. I don't understand how someone was like, yeah, I'll get the nicer one. And spend like
so remember when they did
probably
the
the
second
same
gen,
price.
the second gen Explorer, and
Yeah.
then the Mercury Mountaineer? The second gen
Yeah.
was like the
Worse.
same fascia but upside down.
Yes.
I liked it better.
I hated it.
I liked it better.
Oh, no, I hated it. It was the same thing with the LX and the Land Cruiser at the time. All they did was flip the fascia around. And I preferred at the time, I preferred the LX, which was, you would have liked the Land Cruiser one because you apparently like the fish mouth, the like right side up trapezoid.
Yeah, hell yeah. Give me all the trapezoids.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm waiting for your eye roll. I'm waiting for your eyes to roll into the backwards position as I say the other fellow that was there that hung around had a really good 80 series LX. He pointed to it. I think it's his own. You know the one who wanted to buy the trailer RV.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
The guy that we were talking to next to
Oh.
the 308.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anyways,
Okay.
he was talking about a lot of other things too.
Yeah, okay.
But
all right. All right.
anyways.
Let's keep it moving.
All right,
Come on.
all right.
Let's keep it civil.
Yeah. We're always so like we're the two like
Where are you going with this?
we're so bitchy when we're there, but like in secret, like we're definitely the mean girls.
Yeah,
Like,
what's the
At
secret?
every
What's secret
there's
about
no
that?
secret.
Okay.
No, well, we talk in secret. Well, kind of, except when you pull out your cheerleading megaphone and scream out loud. That's terrible. Across the street at a car.
I have done that from time to time.
Yes.
Hey, speaking of a car,
Yes.
we drove the Polestar 2.
We did.
So we should talk about that.
Okay.
I think that's good content.
I think it's good content.
Because I'm
Go ahead. Describe yourself.
person of influence.
No.
No. Anyway,
Okay. But your mother does not count.
right. Well, anyway, Polestar wanted me to drive this car on Thursday and take some pictures of it. And so we had it for the whole day. I had it for like 8 hours.
Yeah.
And you tagged along
I did.
when it was convenient for you.
Yes.
And you were very helpful in getting pictures, and we both drove the car a bunch.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're allowed to say that you drove it, but we can talk about it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, no.
Actually,
I just sat in the
didn't-
driver's seat and the car maybe moved forward.
I don't
when
even
we
think
put on
I
the
signed a
parking brake.
waiver for me, let alone you. So
Well, to be fair, when they asked occupation, I don't think that they meant for you to fill in influencer. They can't ensure that.
well, it's fine.
Dear
It
God.
was fine. The Polestar 2 is the Polestar, the Volvo sub-brand
Yes.
electric car,
Yeah.
and this is like the size of a 3
It is a
Series.
separate brand, but it is very Volvo-esque.
Very Volvo-esque, but it's
It's
cooler.
upmarket.
It's cooler. It's upmarket, and it's a good size. I know I keep
Yeah.
talking about the size, but it's like,
It's honestly like it reminds me if they had an S40 still, like
yes,
it would be like an S40 cross country because
yeah, it sits up high.
Sits
like
up high.
It's tall. It sits high for a sedan.
yeah.
And ours was in Thunder, which is a cool
color.
like cool blue,
Yeah.
blue gray,
Looks like a flat color in some light, but it's
very
metallic.
pearlescent
Yeah.
in some light. Yeah, it was good. I was really impressed with the interior. I
Yeah,
was really
finish was
impressed.
really good.
The driving, like I said, I keep talking about. I liked the size because there's just an electric car that was a luxury car in like a really handy size for driving in
Yeah.
the city, driving around town. It never felt like
Yeah.
unwieldy or anything. We could
So
make quick, sharp turnarounds.
we should talk about that, like it being positioned up market because it did feel good, and I liked like how Scandinavianly simple
Yeah.
the material choices were.
Right.
I wish the interior was maybe like a little bit more contrasty in color because we just kind of had like a
Ours was gray,
gray, with blackwood,
and it was
blackwood trim.
I think it was like black. I don't remember.
It was kind of a monotone interior.
It was dark gray and light gray.
Yeah.
Dark gray and medium gray.
Yeah. I mean, like the driving experience is like, it is unnoteworthy in a good way, as in like, there's nothing to complain about.
Nothing to complain about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it was quick enough.
It was,
It's
very
400
quick.
400 horsepower.
Very torquey.
equivalent. Yeah.
Very torquey.
But the luxury portion of that is like the thing that I kind of asterisk a little bit because while it is really nice, I looked at the sticker and it was $63,000,
Yeah.
and it MSRP's base, no options, which I mean it comes pretty fully loaded anyways, but at 59.
Yeah.
And I was really surprised at that just because like I really positioned it mentally with the
Right.
Model 3.
Yeah.
And while that car has struggled to meet its actual whatever the base price is intended to be now, which I think
Right.
is like 35 or something.
No,
Um,
I don't know.
yeah, who knows? It goes up and down. But maybe with tax credits and whatnot, it makes for a more enticing proposition. But the Polestar 1 makes sense to me as like this six-figure thing because it is just striking.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was kind of a test bed for the technology
Yeah.
and putting the flagship for the brand. I think the Polestar 1, I think it's no longer in production. I
Okay.
think.
Yeah.
Um,
So the 2 it's interesting. I felt like maybe it should have been about 10 grand at a minimum less.
I'm with you for it to be like what I feel is competitive, but it's also I honestly like I feel like these companies that are just now getting into the EV game and just
Yeah.
now getting into this, like I feel like they're not competing with
Each other.
Tesla so much. They're
Yeah.
competing with each other.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Tesla buyers are Tesla buyers.
Yeah.
And other electric car buyers are people that are like, I do not want a Tesla.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to pay to have a little bit more, like to have something that is not Tesla.
It is unique.
You know what I mean? I think this is like, it'll be interesting to see where this falls against like the BMW i4.
Yeah.
I think.
ID.
Well, there's the iX.
Oh, not
is
ID4,
the
sorry.
iX is the awful thing, but the
iX.
i4 is the one that looks like a car.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm curious where that falls with price with this.
Yeah.
I mean, those might be competitors.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. In my mind, I couldn't place a direct competitor. I was just maybe going by size versus
Well, I think
quality.
the ID4 is like a fastback 3, then it's probably
Yeah.
a pretty direct competitor.
Yeah.
The Volkswagen ID4 is an SUV,
Yeah.
but still probably people will cross shop.
Yeah. But it's also, I think, significantly less.
Right.
To start at least.
Yeah.
So, and maybe just like it's just an electric proposition. I mean, you could spend, I think, about the same amount of money on a base, like Mach-E. But then I guess that's not really. I mean, the Mach-E is also kind of like an interesting like form factor. Like it is kind of CUVE.
It is CUV, yeah.
Yeah.
The Mach-E looks great. I see
It looks
them
great. It's
pretty
fantastic.
often.
Yeah. I don't recall what they start at, but I think it's in that range.
Yeah.
So, and my hairstylist actually just got one because
Really?
we
to
talked
replace his horrible Ranger or Wrangler.
Wrangler. He has a Wrangler with Angry Eye. Well, to start that, it has the Angry Eye mod, and so we'll just you can just extrapolate how the rest
Yes.
of the car ends up. But no, he got a Mach-E,
Wow.
and it was actually surprisingly easy bike.
That's cool.
Despite like they had to drive like 2 hours to go pick it up at a dealership that was not marking them up, but. No, yeah, it looked fantastic.
They look good.
I wanted to rent one in Portland when I went up, but missed out on that opportunity because I really want to try one out to see what it's like.
Yeah.
But anyways, the Polestar 2, I think it's an intriguing proposition. Like, it is unique. Like I was kind of curious if what the general like sentiment might be for it because it is, it's such an unoffensive design. I don't know that I would say that it's good looking necessarily. Like, I think it looks good in a Volvo-esque kind of way.
Right.
It's not like daring or I don't think it's striking, but I think it's just kind of it's just general
I think
good
it's
looking.
striking. I think it stands out. I think the proportion is a little bit different than anything else on the road
Yeah.
because it's not trying to be like a fastback coupe. It's like this
Yeah.
very squared off roof,
It
squared
is.
off like trunk.
Yeah.
Makes it
And
unique.
here's the thing, I think I'm wrong because like and maybe it was also the novelty of it, but while we were driving down
We got lots of
through
looks.
downtown, there were a lot of looks. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay,
Yeah.
like maybe I'm wrong that it's not striking.
And I think the interior, while you say like maybe it's not like luxury commanding the price, the interior is striking in the way that the i3 interior is striking, where it's like,
Yeah.
oh, this is like cool materials
Yeah.
used creatively.
Yeah.
Where it's like maybe it's not plush Mercedes luxury, but it is like
Yeah.
this is nice. Like this makes an impact.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I want
Uh,
to play around with the configurator to see like what other interior configurations you can do. Because
Yeah.
I definitely think we're living in the age of like monotone interiors not being as desirable.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was thinking about this the other day, how I've been forced into beige interiors for like the last three. Oh, the LX had gray interior, but like the 911 has a tan interior. It's actually kind of a nice, like a nice beige. But the E63 has a beige interior. My 3 Series wagon had a beige interior, and now my brain is so broken that I don't think, like, I'm starting to like beige interiors. So long as there's some sort of contrast. I think it's about that. Like, you need just a little bit of contrast somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. The only beige interior I had growing up or in my life
Yeah.
ever was my mom's Millennia.
Okay.
And it had
The gold on the exterior.
no, it was green.
Oh, okay.
90s SUV green.
Yes.
And it was it had the worst seats I've maybe ever experienced. In a car.
Really?
They were so uncomfortable. Like
Okay.
it was just like a lawn chair with padding.
Oh my God. I remember my cousin, who was much older than me, I had rented a 626 of Era.
Oh wow.
And as a kid, I don't know, I was like 12 or something, thinking, like, man, this interior is awful. Like,
Wait, they had the 66 in
as a rental car.
in 1981 when you were
Okay.
12?
All right. Okay.
Okay.
I think they did, but this would be the mid 90s, and it was like I remember fondly. Well, I remember the Millennia. I don't actually know if I've ever ridden in a Millennia. I've ridden in 929s, and those are plush. But they should be because like that was supposed to be a flagship Amati.
My friend Ryan's, so we had like a base X rental Millennia because
Yeah.
my parents are like weird cheapos. But my friend Ryan, his dad had a Mazda Millennium Edition.
Whoa.
Pre-facelift. Well, it
Whoa.
was pre-facelift. It was like 2000, but it was pre-facelift.
Second facelift.
Pre-second facelift.
Okay.
And it was silver.
Okay.
One monotone silver.
Chrome wheels.
With chrome wheels
Yeah.
and like the suede black
Ooh,
interior.
yeah,
That was
I remember that.
amazing. And
That's
it was
pretty
the
cool.
Miller Cycle. It was the S. It was
Yeah.
so good. It was
That's good
so
because
good. It was beautiful.
the final facelift was atrocious.
That's what we owned.
Oh, wait, really?
Yeah.
With the projector lights?
Yeah.
Oh. Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was an earlier one for some reason because the
No.
first gen was, the original one was, I think, the best one.
I think that Millennium Edition was the best. Maybe I'm close to it, but I didn't like the two-tone so much.
I agree.
And
'cause
they were
that would be
all of them were two-tone pretty much.
the facelift ones.
Pre-facelift.
No, the original one wasn't two-tone.
Okay.
They were all single color.
I don't know about that. Anyway,
okay.
the Millennium Edition was great. Ours was not so great.
Millennium Edition.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was. Do you think that like the people at the dealership were 100% spelled Millennium?
I'm
in
sure they
Millennia
spelled it right.
correctly?
Yeah. Correct number of L's, correct number of M's.
Yeah. Was that the only car. No, it wasn't. I was gonna say
That was
that's,
so this dealership. They also sold Daewoo's like in period,
whoa.
and I remember going there and they had like a new Bira in the
Oh
showroom.
my God.
It might have been a Laganza. My memory is a little rusty. They're like, and they are like, yeah, they put a spoiler on it, like from like we're talking like a little like
Yeah.
deck lid spoiler, like a little one from like yeah, the spoiler from the 626 fits perfect, so we sported it up, and I
Oh
was
my
like,
God.
incredible.
Can you imagine? Do you think there's any like prestige in saying that you have a Daewoo franchise of some kind? Like, yeah, I own a Pratt Cadillac Mazda Daewoo.
I mean, at the time, there must have been some reason to get in the Daewoo business.
It must have just been like weird markups or something.
Yeah.
Like you could buy them for $100, not marked
I
up.
remember they tried to market on college campuses, but
I
I don't
remember that.
I don't remember the specifics of it.
Yeah, I do remember that because like I mean I don't remember how much they cost new, but it was under $10,000 for most of them. I mean, including like the VCR that I had. I had a Daewoo VCR in my bedroom as a kid.
Yes. So we were talking about. I had a Daewoo TV,
Yeah.
13-inch TV. So and I beat like all the video games on PlayStation that I had on
Yeah.
the TV. But we were talking about seats, tan seats.
Yes.
I have red seats.
You have red seats
Red
now.
seats in my 911.
Yeah.
I bought some. This was a couple months ago, but I bought some turbo sports seats.
They are the sports seats, so they are bolstered.
They're super bolstered,
Yeah.
and I bought them on eBay. I
Yes.
saw them, and they were can red. So when you think red interior, you usually think like a dark red. These are bright ass
Yeah.
red.
Imagine red seats and then go into Photoshop and turn saturation up 50 to 100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I put them in, and they're good.
The seats are good. I've
There's-
always loved I actually like the look of sports seats in the SC more than I do in the Carrera.
Wait, really?
Yeah, the Carrera ones are they just look like modern day Porsche
Right.
sports seats. They're just like super bolstered.
But
there's
the
something
headrest is still thin.
Yeah.
The headrest on these turbo like earlier turbo seats are like really thick. It's a really thick.
they're really
headrest.
thick. Yeah, I almost got one with someone had retrofitted those seats and they looked so cool and it was almost like enough to push me over the edge. It was like, oh my God, it has
Yeah.
the sports seats.
The sports seats, they make such a difference because the seats, like the normal seats in our cars, I think are my non-sports seats,
Yeah.
my original seats, probably really similar to yours, except not power.
Kind of. Mine sink in a little bit more. Yours
Okay.
is a little bit more, you sit on top of the seat.
Yeah.
In mine, you sink a
I
little
think
bit.
the rails are also a little bit lower.
Yeah.
That was a modification they did
Okay.
between SC and Carrera. But the turbo seats, yeah, you sink in more also.
Yeah.
And you sit lower and they're bolstered to hell. And it's great. And I like it. And I have swapped the gold wheels back to Fuchs. And it
think-
all works.
I
It's-
think
I don't
you've
want to.
reached, yeah, I think you've reached where the car should be.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think when I put it on, when I put the seats in, it had the gold wheels.
Yeah.
And it was like with the stripes, the gold wheels, and these bright ass seats. It was like,
I will.
this is a lot of shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like,
There's a lot of
there were
stuff.
moments where I was like, this is like very Captain America themed.
It was a lot of things.
Yeah.
But now it's good. And then I found that picture. I've had a picture on my computer of an SC with the M42 package,
Yeah.
the Martini stripe kit from the factory,
Yeah.
and it had can red
Yeah.
interior, the full interior.
Yeah,
But
which would be, I think, too much.
too much.
Yeah, red dash, red steering is too much.
Yeah, it's a lot. But yeah, it's good.
That looks
and I
good.
love it. I
Yeah,
love it.
yeah.
So I'm excited.
Congratulations, because
Thank
I
you.
remember, I think one car we tested a long time ago when I was looking for a car had the sports seats in it, and I think I don't know if those are the first ones that you had sat in with sports seats, but I remember your face just like
It might have
like,
been.
"Ah,
It
these are
probably
good."
was. It probably was because our seats have no bolster.
yeah,
Like you just sort of flop around.
yeah.
And maybe the Carrera ones are a little more grippy if you sink in more. But my stock seats just like
Yeah.
you're
Yours-
just holding yourself in place.
I won't lie, like the SC stock seats, I would have had trouble with those anyways, just because I need a lot of adjustment. I am a little bit shorter, and so
Yeah.
with the power, like these are power, or the one in my car are power, and so I need that kind of like they don't
granular.
adjust. Yeah, they don't really adjust in a modern car kind of way. Anyways, it's still like a little bit awkward, but
Yeah.
it works for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I honestly I think I would hate the Carrera sports seats also because I sit a little bit lower, like where the bolsters are typically like intrude on my elbow space, and so. But yeah, I am glad that you've now reached a good place.
You'll have to drive it. You'll have to drive it.
Yeah, I got to try
With
it
the
with these new
seats.
seats,
Um,
which is great. This is your anniversary gift for the car.
this is, yeah. So I've hit 5 years with the car,
I can't believe.
and I just created a video. By the time this pod goes out, if I'm the one editing it, for sure, the video will be out.
You didn't let me
And
finish. I can't believe you're still alive.
I know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. It's been 5 years of memories and things and
Yeah.
30,000 miles in an air-cooled 911.
Yeah, you showed me a little montage clip. I was
Yeah.
reminded of many moments.
Many moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So I'm excited about this video. Like I've honestly been like stressing about this video, which is completely self-imposed because
Yeah.
like it has to be good.
Yeah.
Like to me. So we'll see. But I think it's gonna be good. I'm excited about it.
yeah.
And we drove our cars in Austin on some good roads a couple
We
weeks
did.
ago.
Yeah.
We went so Radwood Austin was canceled obviously a couple weeks ago, and we still had hotel reservations and everything. So we went with our friend Tom, and we still stayed where we were gonna stay, and we
Yep.
just like instead of going to Radwood, we just like drove some good roads.
We did, yeah.
and it was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah. Tom has a Riviera Blue 993. Beautiful.
Amazing.
Yeah, with matching sports seats, or color matched sports seats.
Yeah, seat backs.
Yeah. And on the way up, there was a little bit of trouble
Yes.
for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I had the gold wheels on, and we're driving out, and Chris calls me and says that one of my wheels is wobbling, and I said, "Oh no, that's bad." So we pull over, and I'm immediately accusing him, like as if it was his fault that this happened because he pointed it out.
Yep.
And so you guys continued on to Austin. I drove home, and to swap the gold cookie cutters and spacers to my Fuchs.
Yeah, we stopped by like a nice restaurant. We're just, sipping iced tea, having a
Yeah,
nice
I
time.
was
And
sweating.
you're live texting like the hubs are like fused to the
Yeah,
the
because
spacer.
I had these spacers and the wheel was stuck on the spacers. Like it was the weirdest thing, and this happened when I took the gold wheels off before.
Yeah.
Also, where it's like you take off all the lug nuts, and then the wheel still is stuck onto the spacer.
Yeah.
And so I'm like hammering it with a rubber mallet, and it's also
90 degrees.
90 degrees. I have to be in my driveway because my garage is too small, basically, to work on the car in the garage or to like raise the car in the garage. So I'm in the direct sun. It's like 2 p.m. I'm like sweating and screaming and texting madly. And like I got one side.
Yeah.
And I even called Brian at Modern Air Cooled.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, you just gotta hit one side and then hit the other side and then keep
Yeah.
doing that and go back at it. And it did work eventually, but I mean, it took like 20 minutes of like physical thing.
Yeah.
And that was each side.
Yeah.
And so put the Fuchs on, like grabbed a snack, hit the road, and then drove to Austin in like 3 hours in some traffic, and then met you at the hotel.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm glad you made it.
Yes.
Yeah. And when we left you behind,
I told you to leave me behind because I didn't want you to like turn back around. We were like an hour outside of Houston almost.
yeah. No, and you basically intercepted. We just stopped for lunch, and that gave you enough time to
Yeah.
essentially intercept us at the same time in Austin. So
Yeah.
it worked out. And it was that's the thing. We talk about this all the time, but Houston is like a perfect grid, and it is completely flat.
Yeah.
And we are reminded often that Austin, much like Northern California or even Southern California,
Or
like
even like most places.
most
that aren't
places, like
Houston
yeah, like
have roads.
just like not even outside of the city, still in the city, like are nice roads.
Nice roads. Yeah, we drove Lime Creek Road and 2222, and then I went back and drove City Park Road.
Yeah.
And we met up with our friend Crystal, and the next day
Who had
we drove it, and I drove her M3.
Yeah, she had recently bought
Daniel
friend of the
Sloan's.
podcast. Well, acquaintance of the podcast.
Acquaintance of the podcast, Daniel Sloan.
Yeah.
His M3.
Yeah.
She has it, and I got to drive it, and she drove it, and we had a lot of fun
It's
driving
good.
on
I'm always
22.
reminded that like it's such a nice, tight
It's
like
such
car.
a good car.
Yeah.
It's such a good car. Like anyone who talks shit about the convertibles like doesn't know anything because it's
Yeah.
like you still have that engine
You do.
and transmission.
And like where like unless you're tracking, and even if you were, like it doesn't matter. Like you will still have fun in
yeah,
it. So
absolutely.
yeah,
So it's just a great car with amazing grip, amazing transmission, amazing
Yeah.
gearbox.
yeah, and like that, like you commented after. I mean, this is also just kind of like I don't even think it's a car curmudgeon thing, but like that car has just enough horsepower.
Yeah, like on a tight road, you would not want a more powerful car.
Yeah.
But it's like the car that BMW will sell you now is faster with a shittier engine.
Yeah.
It's like I don't want
Like,
that.
what is this for? Especially if it again.
Like I don't want to go faster. I want to enjoy this engine, and it's extremely fast. So to have a faster one that's turbocharged and sucks.
yeah.
No thanks.
A car that is faster than like you know what to do with and will never actually like fully utilize its power.
Right,
Like,
and then
seems stupid.
if you try to, you will fly off a mountain.
Yeah. Oh, right, it's not stupid. If you want to buy one, buy one. But like to admire it over like
Right.
an older car or a
Yeah.
car that doesn't have as much horsepower, like there is just a sweet spot that exists.
The E46 is so good. I told Crystal, I was like every time I drive one of these, I'm like I need one of these.
I know. I think
Like-
about it. I like that that lit the fire in me again to
So
find
good.
one.
So good.
I know.
And Daniel's the coupe, the Phoenix Yellow coupe.
yeah.
Like it's just beyond.
And
I mean, I'm saying don't talk shit about the convertibles, and the convertible is really good. But
Yeah.
that coupe just is. Really,
I did think
really
about. I
good.
thought about like after that drive. I immediately started looking. I checked convertible in my search because normally I would like exclude it.
Well,
I
you
s-
like sunroofs. Imagine a big sunroof.
but I still don't think I could do it because
What if there was
like,
a big sunroof?
the problem? Yeah, the problem is that I still don't think I could have a convertible in Houston because it is so unusable.
There is 3, 4, maybe even 5 days a year where you could use a convertible.
Yeah. Otherwise, like, it will just like be there baking in the
Yes.
sun. I don't remember if it has a glass rear window or not.
Yes.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay. Because that's the other thing. Like, I don't know if I could, especially in Houston, have like a car with a plastic rear window because it will just like become foggy after like a day.
Yeah.
Out in the sun.
Ironically, when I had my Boxster, a plastic rear window, like I would always like fold it to help it. And
Yeah.
Stuff. You know, you have to on the Boxster.
Yeah.
And I basically cracked it because it was cold, and I didn't.
Oh. So like
the
it
heat's
literally
actually good for it because it will fold and it will actually still be like gel.
Yeah.
Excuse me, like jelly.
Oh.
So when it's cold, that's when it cracks.
Wow. Can you condition it somehow?
I don't know. I mean, it didn't like crack all the way across, but it like
Yeah.
made
It-
the edges.
Yeah.
shitty.
Well, it's just like when you like bend like clear like a clear
Exactly.
plastic bag or something. It
Yeah, so
creates
when
a
it's
crease.
hotter, it's better. It was
Yeah.
the one time that it was cold, and it was like I wanted to put the top down at like a red light and not actually get, like out of the car and
Yeah.
adjust it.
Yeah.
So it was anyway. That
Well,
car's
that's a
gone.
unique feature.
That car's gone. It's
Yeah.
fine. I wanted to talk about. I was talking about my 9/11 video.
Yes.
5 years.
Yes.
And I worked. The reason I have not done a YouTube video in a while is because I have been working on this 912 video.
Yeah.
Which
Was
was
a car that's currently up for sale on Bring a Trailer.
currently on BAT. It's so two sisters came to me and they asked me if I would shoot this car and make a video about it, and I said I will not shoot it because it's in the Bay Area
Yeah.
and like you can hire someone there.
Yeah.
But I will edit a video, and so that's what I did.
Yeah.
And it was like a bit of a process, but I'm happy with the result and people like it.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see. And it's so it's the story is very, very briefly, a man named George Vaccaro in 1967 bought a 912 at the factory, at the Porsche factory. European delivery. He lived in the Bay Area, and he drove around Europe with his wife for like 3 months, camped out of it and everything, and then shipped it home and kept it for 54 years.
Yeah.
And like maintained it in pristine condition. And he passed away earlier this year. And so his daughters are selling the car, but they want to tell the story. So so I helped to tell the story of the car and its history and George's history. And like, I feel like I got to know this man, like making this video.
Yeah. Kevin put on a powdered wig and reenacted several scenes.
I said George. I didn't say George Washington.
No, so part of like the uniqueness of this video is that they actually had footage. Like,
yeah, so he recorded all this footage on like 8mm
mil-
film or whatever in the 60s at the factory and around Europe. I mean, it was like we had like
it was pretty
hours
cool.
of footage.
Yeah.
So it was really cool to use that, and it was fun. And like there was some struggles with the video edit process, but I mean, all in all, like it became like mostly my original vision.
Yeah.
And I'm happy with the result, and happy that like people are reacting to it well, like people that knew him or people that didn't. And it's
no,
cool.
it was a really nice like again kind of like a little short film about. I mean, like that is cool. Like I mean, when people talk about like family owned or one owner or whatever, like that does just kind of mean anything. But this was like a cool history of the car.
Yeah.
Like he bought it with the intention of coming back to the States and selling it.
Yeah. But he fell in love with it, and
yeah.
he kept it. And it wasn't like he like kept it and neglected it, or kept it and then bought 15 other cars. Like he kept it, and that was his fun toy car that he kept and treasured for 54 years.
Yeah.
And that's incredible.
That is cool. Yeah. Like, oh man, that would be, that's the goal that I'm working towards right now, is loving a car enough to want to keep it forever and ever. And so far, like you have kept the SC for 5 years.
5 years.
Not the longest, right? That you've kept a car?
It is pretty close. I mean, I kept the ride. The only thing that comes close to my Ford Pro.
First cars don't count because, especially mine, but first cars don't count because, of course, you just have to keep it out of necessity.
Yeah. I've only had like 5 or 6 cars.
Yeah.
They've only had 6 cars ever.
Okay. I could go for shortest car, which may be, actually, it's not even
GTI.
impressive. The GTI I kept for like 6 months, and I didn't drive it for half the time.
Yeah.
But longest is still, I think, my college
Protege
car,
5?
the Protege 5.
Yeah.
So
College cars. The college is tough on cars, and,
Yeah.
and it's just tough.
yeah. So, but I'm thinking that the Carrera is going to be a very long-term vehicle. So, again, it's also just like not even just a matter of falling in love with the car, but like if I sold it and wanted it again, it would just be impossible to find one in the same way that I found mine and have like kept it up.
Yeah, you found a
So-
really good one.
Yeah, and like there's just something to be said about like being that person that fixes like just maintains these cars, upgrade these cars. Like I just like it seems so stressful to go and start the journey over again. I mean, I know people do it all the time, but like but anyways, so we're a little bit shy of 50 years. But yeah, so the car is up for auction.
Yeah, it is
currently.
up on bat. The comments are really good. Like I've never seen a thing like this. Like
Yeah.
so, Michelle and Melissa are the sisters, and they told me about the process, and they're saying like, oh, like it's, we've got 3 weeks till it goes on bat, or 2 weeks till it
Yeah.
goes on bat, and they're saying, but they said when they submitted everything, including the video, like bat was like, we've never seen a presentation like this,
Wow.
which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah. But and Courtney Frisk, one of my friends, shot all the photos.
Nice.
They're beautiful.
Yeah.
They're amazing. So it was a really good listing, good presentation, good story, good
Yeah.
good video, good photos. Like
Yeah.
it's it's and a good story and good history. So it's actually exciting to watch. I would definitely recommend anyone watch it just because of like the, you know, unique history of it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is definitely a good watch. Many commenters commenting on how it had touched them, the
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
So
I was hoping for that.
check it out. Bid it up, I guess.
yeah.
So, yeah.
I was pleased with my. I mean, like I said, I you know, even though we like changed a lot of photos, we changed a lot of stuff, and
Yeah.
it was, like I said, the edit was like, you know, it got into detailed changes. Like it was like 90% my vision, where it's like we start with this opening, we go through this history, and then we tell this story,
Yeah.
and then like we have the end credits, and we share this video. Was we had a video where
Yeah.
he was interviewed in like 2011 in like low res. He was interviewed about the car, and he basically goes through the whole story, and you hear him talk about it himself. And I
Yeah.
said we should include it, but include it in like the end credits as like
Yeah.
a little recap where you actually see it from him.
Yeah.
And you know, and they loved that, and that made it in. So
Oh, very nice.
And that's like a cool thing. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just fun. It was
Yeah.
just fun to feel like I'm making like a little film. We had a narrator. I was really pushing for Chris, but they went for someone else. And
I
but,
don't
you
know why they didn't pick me. And I have to say, since you've been doing video the last 2 years, you've gotten pretty good
Oh, thank you.
at
You're
it.
so sweet.
Meanwhile, I'm still working on my like iMovie happy birthday frame,
Yes.
trying to get that right over my videos.
It's very fulfilling and rewarding to do videos.
Yeah.
I've made like $20 from YouTube so far, but that's not the real reward. The real reward is like the people see you and they engage with you in
Yeah.
a way that is so much more meaningful than like I post pretty pictures to Instagram.
Yeah.
People like it and say like, you know,
It's
thumbs up emoji.
A very engaging media format because
Yeah.
you have to obviously you have
work.
to watch it. Yeah.
Well, and you have to work so much to make it, but you're
Yeah.
putting so much
And
more of
that's
yourself
just it.
out
Yeah,
there.
definitely. It's definitely like a multi-craft
Yeah.
like endeavor because you're just mixing so many different facets together.
Yes.
So
I mean, it's like I said, like so this video like was like a 11-minute video, I
Yeah.
think, the 912 video, and it's like, so that's let's say generously, there's like a decision you have to make every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So that's 200 plus like big decisions
Yeah.
you're making.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like it's so many choices that
Sure,
get
yeah.
made, and that's why it's so hard. Whereas like a photo, it's funny. I was actually thinking about this, so I posted the Polestar photos, and like comparing with, they had to approve them.
yeah.
But comparing with previous clients that I won't name any names, but like it's part of the excitement for me. If I have to send photos and submit and then like make a revision or
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? It's like part of the excitement for me is like, I've got 200 photos,
Yeah.
500 photos, 500 photos, 40 good ones.
Yeah.
I'm going to impulsively, like, this is my number one. This is my number one. I can tell that right away. This is
Yeah.
my number one. This is my number two. These 4, I like them.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm going to submit these. I'm going to like submit these, send them, and then they say yes in 5 minutes. And I post them. And it's like, it's so much more fun when it's spontaneous.
Yeah.
It's so much more fun where it's like, I can go back and it's like, oh, there's still like 12 gems in there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. This doesn't make sense at all what I'm talking about. But part of the excitement for me is like doing a post where it's like, I just picked this. This might not be the best 5. Like,
Yeah.
there's still more in there. But this is just the 5 that really spoke to me.
Yeah.
And so I do have to do another post. So hopefully there's still some good ones left that I haven't picked.
Yeah.
But it's just fun.
Photoshop me. You Photoshop like a much more handsome person, his
Yeah.
face onto mine,
Right.
which is fine.
I put your face in shadow.
Yeah, I'm using those for Tinder profile pics now.
I took out a manhole cover and it was
Wow.
What
Oh,
a-
I thought you were referring to me.
God damn it. And it was like hard Photoshop. Like it was very hard cloning, but it came out okay.
You should have used Photoshop's AI content aware
It does not
tool,
work.
and
It
it would
does
just
not.
would have like repeated my face onto the like the ground or something.
Oh my god.
Anyway,
What's our time at?
We are 1 day, 59 hours in.
Okay.
But I think that might be a podcast.
But we didn't get to the thing.
What thing?
I don't know.
Okay.
All right.
Well, we'll save that for another episode.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. Do follow us on Instagram at New for
New for 96.
Email us if you must. New for 96.
Spelled out at
on
gmail.com.
Gmail. Stop sending things to our AOL account. That is for other purposes. And I think that's it. All right.
Yes. That's it. Bye.
Excellent extra. Okay. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.